Hey everyone, this is Uri for Guerrilla Poker. Great to see you again. Today in this video I'm going to be analyzing a bunch of high stakes hand histories, not really using solvers, just using my knowledge and kind of going through the action and the explanation of what's going on and what I think about each player's play. So let's dive into the action. So first is the Make Boy Finn BERRI Sweet heads up match. Make Boy Finn, one of the top no limit hold'em players, and BERRI Sweet is a top everything player who has been battling no limit heads up. Top PLO player, top mixed game player, and of course very strong no limit player. So these two have been battling a ton. So first hand 150 deep, Make Boy Finn raises to 500, BERRI Sweet calls 797 rainbow board. BERRI checks, Make Boy Finn goes for a 30% pot bet, and at this point it's important to mention 779 rainbow. What does a 30% pot bet mean and what is it trying to do? And generally the 30% pot bet implies that you're betting wide and small to deny equity from a bunch of weak hands the other guy has. On this board you can imagine something like Queen 5 or 8-4, which can't continue really against even such a small bet, and especially paired boards there are plenty of hands like that. And then BERRI check raising is going to indicate a range that's centered around a bunch of trips, a bunch of draws and backdoor draws, and some 9x or low pocket pairs. With the idea being that you don't want to go fully polarized, also benefit a lot from getting some protection. And this kind of screws your opponent if he's going to bet call ace high and then you show down some random pair, which he definitely does need to bet call a bunch of ace highs on this board. So deuce of diamonds, BERRI checks. Here his range should be a bunch of give ups. Now give ups could be backdoor draws that missed, like 10-4 of spades. They could be kind of weaker draws, some 6-5 off gut shot type stuff. And of course a bunch of his showdown value hands, so 9x can check, pocket pairs can check, etc. and some traps. So Make Boy Finn bets half pot, indicating he probably has a 9 beat, I would guess, or at least he has a decent 9. Gets check raised, so BERRI's saying my range is now some draws and some traps. King of diamonds river. Changes a little bit, flush getting there, but both players are going to have flushes here. It's a question whether trips is still good enough to put the money in, but either way BERRI shoves, Make Boy Finn calls, and we see 8-5 off for BERRI, so definitely one of the hands I spoke about being in his range. On the flop and on the turn check. I would say this is way too loose after the turn check, like you should have better bluffs to check raise with, and probably better bluffs to follow through. Even in the sense of just having one diamond in your hand is going to make the check raise higher EV and the river follow up higher EV. So in my eyes, just too loose by BERRI technically. Kind of right type of hand, but not good enough compared to all the options you have in heads up. And Make Boy Finn calls with a boat, which, I mean, easy game for him this hand. So 135 deep, Make Boy Finn and BERRI Sweet battling it out. BERRI Sweet 3 bets, 4.5x, decent size, and we get the 8-8-9 two-tone board. Again, whenever you see a board, you need to have some idea of the strategy implications. So when we see the 8, first of all, we know the caller is going to have more 8s than the 3-better, but second, we know that these guys are only 130 deep, so it doesn't really matter if someone has an 8. Like, if BERRI has something like pocket 10s, he just closes his eyes, bet, shove, like that. That's the way you play those hands. Even though you run into trips a lot, like what can you do? So here he bets small, bet we're going to see a lot. This indicates he's betting wide. I think it's probably not the best bet size for this kind of board because it's a bit too easy to just call this with a bunch of hands. Paired boards, anything like King 10 has an out to a 10 and out to a king, backdoor stuff. So this, I think this might be a bit small, but not a big deal. Deuce of diamonds, BERRI checks. Whenever you check out of position, you always have this tricky range of, you have some traps, a bunch of medium strength hands and give ups. And maybe some draws, but main part of the checking range is always going to be medium strength hands and give ups, and you throw some traps in there. So BERRI check calls, indicating, you know, either this is some super nutty trap or it's one of the medium strength hands. Checks the 4 of spades river. Everything here misses, by the way, so Make Boyfriend has to be selective with what he bluffs with, right? Because Jack 10, Queen 10, Queen Jack 7, 6, 10, 7, 6, 5, 7, 5. There are so many hands that missed. You definitely can't bluff all of them. Make Boyfriend shoves, very sweet calls, and we see Make Boyfriend shoving with a Queen 10. In terms of the hands he gets here with, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a bit too wide. But like when you're ranking hands to bluff with on the river, it's not like you have to bluff the worst and then the next worst and then the next worst. Like if Queen 10 has 0 showdown value, it's fine to bluff it sometimes and even maybe give up 7-6. Maybe you go like, okay, 7-6 blocks 7s and 6s, which maybe fold. I'd rather have Queen 10. This bluff in and of itself doesn't tell us too much, but there is a suspicion that Make Boyfriend is maybe going a bit wide here. And BERRI calling with Ace of Spades, Queen of Diamonds. Like we said, this is the kind of medium strength hand, right? Beats bluffs, but that's about it. In terms of properties for the call, we always look at the 2 cards in terms of removal effects, where Ace is really good, because Make Boyfriend would not be bluffing with an Ace. And Queen of Diamonds, is this a good card or a bad card, depends a lot on how Make Boyfriend bluffs. If you think he doesn't bluff Queen Jack and Queen 10, because those are too high showdown value, Queen's amazing. If he bluffs them all the time, Queen's kind of bad. And then maybe he doesn't bluff the Queen of Diamonds specifically because of the busted flush draw. I don't think that's too relevant personally, so I wouldn't worry about it. So yeah, BERRI's play seems okay. Maybe, you know, sometimes you fold this hand, but mostly okay. Make Boyfriend's play seems okay, maybe a bit loose, but I'm not sure. Okay, so another Make Boyfriend very sweet hand. Make Boyfriend raises to 500, very sweet calls. Now they're 100 deep, which means somebody just got stacked, or, you know, they just started a match. We get a King Deuce 4 two-tone board, and Make Boyfriend bets half pot. I think this is very common sizing on these kind of boards. And, you know, half pot is going to be kind of merged. It's not big to the point where you bet only with a king. So definitely could have stuff like a 4, a deuce, or 6s, or ace queen, or stuff like that. Turn Queen of Spades, Make Boyfriend overbets. Now he's starting to polarize his range to bluffs and like good kings. I don't know where the threshold is in heads up exactly, King 9, King 10 roughly. BERRI checks the river, Make Boyfriend pots the river. Pot here, in my eyes, is like a good 1-pair hand mostly. Or like a weak 2-pair hand. Sets and straights will mostly go bigger unless they're trapping. If you have something like King Queen, similarly. But if you have one of the weaker hands, value hands like Ace King, Aces, King Jack, those would be, I guess, the main potting hands in my eyes. BERRI raises all in. It's not huge. Make Boyfriend's gonna have to bluff catch here a lot. In my eyes, BERRI for value would be going 2-pair plus. So Make Boyfriend calls with Queen Deuce 2-pair, which I think he kind of has to. BERRI rivered the straight. I'd say this hand is played well by both players. There is a chance Make Boyfriend could have just shoved the river with Queen Deuce. I wouldn't be shocked. Probably what I would have done is just shove the river, but maybe I'm overplaying my hand, I don't know. Definitely bet call, and you know, BERRI sweet could have folded the turn with Ace-5. That's not a bad call, because Ace-5 presumably beats bluffs and has outs versus value, as we're seeing here on the 3, so yeah, hand seems fine. Okay, so another heads up, BERRI sweet Make Boyfriend hand. Make Boyfriend again sitting on 20k, 100 big blinds, so either tables got reset, they just started, or someone just got stacked. BERRI raises to 480, Make Boyfriend 3 bets to 2k, and BERRI calls. We get King 6-7 rainbow, third pot bet, very common bet indicating you're just ripping it in with most of your range. Turns a Jack of Diamonds, and Make Boyfriend keeps barreling. And here again, we want to read into what does this mean, because on the flop, the third pot on this board, you're just betting everything. Jack of Diamonds, the range now changes, betting draws and relatively good hands. I don't know where the threshold is exactly. Is it like any king, pocket queens, maybe even ace jack sometimes, but roughly around there. Ace of Diamonds river, so a big equity shifting card, right? Queen 10 gets there. Stuff like a7, a6, ace jack now improved to beat something like a king queen. And a backdoor flush draw gets there. This is a really big equity shifting card. Make boyfriend checks, which he's going to have to do with a bunch of hands, the most like classic one being king queen. Or king queen, you were like going bet, let's shove the river, and ace of diamonds, you're like, okay, time to check, like what else are you going to do? And this is actually a spot where a lot of people, when they have king queen, not really sure how to play it, because it feels like only bad stuff can happen. And in a way this is true. Like when you have the main hand your opponent expects you to have, and your hand isn't strong enough to put in a bet, and you check to him, if he bets, it's just bad for you. Like there's no way around it. There's no good decision with king queen versus a bet. You're just hoping he checks back pretty much, and then you tend to win a lot. So make boyfriend checks, BERRI goes all in. Make boyfriend calls, BERRI has 7-8 of diamonds, so standardly played hand, right? Call a 3-bet, call a flop, turn a flush, draw river, a flush, you shove, easy game. Make boyfriend with a king queen, king of diamonds. Again, this is the main hand he's going to get to the river with and check in this line. So he has to call it sometimes, because BERRI's going to get here with bluffs, right? 8-9, 10-9, or 4-5, 8-5 are all open-enders. BERRI might just turn a random pair into a bluff here on the river, so you have to call this hand sometimes, and king of diamonds certainly helps. So that's a, kind of standardly played hand as well. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions or comments, feel free to post. Like and subscribe to the channel. Visit our website. Hope to see you there.